The Angler Survey Committee does is we try to improve communication across boundaries that are traditionally unconnected, and it's really centered in the mission statement of AFS. And yeah, we have very diverse attendance. We have representatives from 40 different states, Europe and Canada, and we've had attendance ranging from around 50 to 85 participants in each of the 7 webinars we've held so far. The Angler Survey Committee website we just built. It's housed within the FMS website, and it's a great place to go to orient yourself with what we're trying to do with the Angler Survey Committee. And we have 4 subcommittees because those that are working with angler surveys, there's such a diverse group of scientists that we wanted to cover a broad range, and we've identified leaders in the field to serve as chairs of each of these subcommittees. And our last charge is to publish and, well, first to develop best practices for angler surveys, and then to publish. And Angler Survey Methods, Pollock et al., 1994, right now serves as the go-to book for CREALs and management agencies. It was published 30 years ago. Even though it was published 30 years ago, it's cited as highly as it ever has been. But let's think back to what 1994 looked like, and internet was dial-up, Encarta was Google, and AOL was Facebook. Yeah, it's a whole new world we're living in today. We now have the ability to collect and store data digitally, and we have computing power that is exponentially increased. And on top of that, there's been a probabilistic statistical revolution, which we want to talk about in this second edition. But whether you're a Bayesian or a frequentist, or you have no idea what I just said, we want you to read our book, and we want to write it in a way that these type of things make sense to the readers. And on top of everything, there's also a lot of emerging technology and innovations that can really improve the way that we collect angler survey data. So the way that the second book was written is that in 1990, before the book was conceptualized, they developed a Creel and Angler Survey Symposium. It was held in Houston, Texas. And as far as developing a second edition, we want to pay an homage to the way that Angler Survey Methods was developed and start to think about planning a Creel-oriented symposium in 2025 San Antonio. So that's where we're at right currently, and we want to start to build a committee to plan this symposium and think about who we want to attend and be a part of this book. And also, we're beginning to start the conversation with the education section and AFS as far as publishing the book as an AFS book and developing a cost share plan with the education section, like they've done with other books. Notably, inland fisheries in North American, fisheries management in Inland Fisheries Management in North America, 4th edition. We think that this is the perfect project for a multi-state conservation grant, considering every state has their own flavor of angler surveys. So we want to leverage the partnerships we built in the Angler Survey Committee, along with AFS leadership, and put together a proposal for this that we will submit, I think it's May or June in 2025. And then following that, we plan to hold the Angler Survey Committees or Angler Survey oriented symposium. And shortly after that, we want to start getting more serious about developing a real book proposal. This is essentially a proposal for a proposal that we're trying to develop after gathering that brain trust of creel survey experts and getting in the room and showing up a draft table of contents and working through the details of what we need to include and what we don't need to include in the next edition of Angler Survey Methods. And this is 2027, 2028 thinking about publishing, but my advisor is Steve Midway, and he's told me that any sort of timeline that's built for books, it's just destined to be broken. And on top of all that, this is an ambitious timeline with that little Mike the Tiger there. That is when my current funding runs out, and that's when I need to graduate. It's okay, I continue, but that is when I'm anticipating graduating. So I want to show y'all how I plan to integrate my dissertation into this plan. Earlier today, I presented the first chapter of my thesis, and I hope to present that again once the project's finished in a future webinar. The fieldwork's going to be done at the end of the year, so we're going to have a lot more bandwidth to focus on Angler Survey Committee related activities. At the Angler Survey Symposium, plan to do a meta-analysis with CreelCat data and present chapter 2 of my thesis there. And then I talked with Mark earlier about this, but hoping to wrap up the North American Creel evaluation and present it in January, February at Southern Division, New Orleans. So that is how I'm thinking I'm going to be able to do this dissertation and book at the same time. But I need some help from y'all. And I think we need to start thinking about succession planning and getting someone else in the role of chair so that I can step aside and focus more on the book. And but that's not to say I want to completely step away from the Angler Survey Committee. I want to attend every webinar and present my research there. But for all this to work and for me to stay sane, I think it's best that we start to think about who might be looking to do the role of chairing this committee. So ideally, we're looking for someone like me, early career or graduate student, someone who's looking to get a foothold in human dimensions research and learn what fish management agencies value. And my experience through being the chair is that I've gotten mentorship from creel survey experts across the country and name recognition from leaders in AFS. For example, Jeff Kapaska is the new executive director. He's someone who attends these webinars and has been really helpful with navigating FMS as a committee within FMS. So I'll just open that back up to y'all. Do y'all know anybody that fits this, or is there anybody that comes to mind that might? I have
you
some.
You can tell about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, who?
You can tell about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, it's just something to think about, and
Dave, I feel like you can make this pitch broadly, distribution.
yeah. And I'm taping this right now. I'm gonna send it out, and yeah. Just something to think about whenever you meet some eager young creel researchers. All right. So, also, another thing I wanted to point out is that Nick Sievert, he was formerly one of the data management subcommittee chairs. And he played a big role in getting this committee started, and really want to thank him for all his involvement. But we're looking for someone to replace him as well. And this is definitely much more lower stakes than being the chair of the whole committee. But if there's anyone that deals with data management, whether it's fisheries dependent data or otherwise, we're looking for someone that fits a similar category to fill that. All right, so with thinking about that symposium, I just want to ask y'all, show of hands, does anyone here have experience planning a symposium in AFS? And yeah, what's a good game plan for making this the best symposium that it can be in San Antonio? I'm trying to make this just an open conversation with y'all. Go ahead, Paul.
It's going to be a little different because normally it's going to be paper talks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the talks will be. So not too hard to propose it and say it's going to exist. And so it could be cutting edge topics, history design, or maybe with an historical perspective. I think we kind of get everyone's brains in the right range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely want to be inclusive too.
Right. I guess what has changed since 1994 could be part of the title.
Yeah.
And are you envisioning or invited talks, or you want to have a session where people are sitting into not necessarily.
I think we want to have targeted and also the way, I'm not really sure what the process the AFS goes to picking which sessions to go in, but there's a way to have that conversation with AFS to identify some talks that we may not know about. Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so usually the way it works is you might have some people in mind beforehand. You can say when you apply or submit an application that there's people to talk to and you'll probably submit. You do that way, you can just set it up and say we talk to people and then invite people to apply, and then you're always going to get people contributed that are going to look for something that's relevant to what they're doing, and then it's up to you if you want to get selective and accept or say, I'm sorry, but this is exclusive or we are full, and you can be, it's easy to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that comes back around what you do with those talks. What is your intent? I appreciate that you want to be inclusive, but if your overall idea is to identify new ways of doing this or really great analytical strides that we've made over, since the last book, there are going to be papers that are highly relevant, and there are going to be some that are entered simply because, hey, I did a research, and that's the reason we made it. And it's not that that's a reason that it may not be for those kinds of talks unless it's really focused on methodology or innovations.
Yeah. Well, I think it's definitely some give and take between inclusivity and, we'll have to see what it looks like after we start putting some feelers out. But yeah, I think in the meantime, we can think as a committee about ways to approach those potential presenters, and maybe we can discuss this next webinars in November. So maybe we can think about having something done before November so that we can update everyone else. Yeah, go ahead.
Regarding your ask for help, I think one thing that might help you identify a student or early career that feels like they can do the job is to really delineate which aspects you want to keep and which aspects you want to delegate to your co-chair. And if those tasks are more like identifying great webinar speakers quarterly, then they can say, hey, I feel comfortable with that, but they're not going to feel comfortable helping you with your project.
Yeah.
So just kind of specify that out.
Okay. Well, yeah, so I guess to update all y'all, also I proposed a similar presentation to FMS and the education section. And there weren't enough members to make a quorum, but the sentiment overall was positive. And they're really interested in helping us put together this symposium. So, yeah, next steps will I'll work with Abby and Kevin Pope and Steve and start thinking a little bit more about putting those feelers out. Starting to generate some excitement for what we have next. All right, another topic I wanted to talk about is future webinars. In November later on, we're going to have a webinar totally devoted to self-reporting, and we've already got some loose confirmations from folks, including Jeff Kupaska and,
Is that gonna be,
what's that?
is that gonna be?
They're each gonna give a presentation.
Really short presentation?
I think it's gonna be an hour and a half meeting for this one. I haven't followed up with everyone just yet, but yeah, the next one out of that group, we're gonna get at least 3 talks, and hopefully more about self-reporting. Lindsay Wazula has a paper, and do you know the status of that paper, Abby? So,
It should be out there.
yeah, and myself and Mike Keller are working on some a quantitative human dimensions workshop that I wanted to talk about. But did y'all see any Creel-oriented talks, or do y'all know of anybody that might be interested in filling some of these spaces that we have? Just
Some of them you could just.
yeah. What you mean? Just have one presentation for that one?
Yeah, I mean, you could potentially do this like presentations out here.
Okay.
It's an option.
So what's a topic like that? Like a Creel meta-analysis or climate change Creel?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've had the self-reporting one is one that I know that when we had the introductory meeting, they asked what topics were you most interested in, and self-reporting was the highest response that we got. So
I just worry with all those folks, like they could each talk for probably an hour on the topic.
yeah.
It's gonna be tight.
Well, maybe what I'll do is I'll try to just think about whittling this down to 3 talks, and then think about the next webinar. That'll make things easier for planning.
In complete self-interest, Jeff and Sean were the topics of the meetings.
Yeah, I think Jeff used Angular Atlas for his project.
Probably use that.
Okay. Yeah. Are there any topics that y'all think we're missing or you'd like to see more of? Any young grad students looking to throw themselves into the fire? Michael? Oh, wait.
I didn't like how 4 pairs of eyes ended up.
Yeah, just something to think about, and yeah, it's a great way to get people to see your research, and the hope is that they'll cite it. So, talking about that quantitative social science piece, with that first introductory survey, we asked respondents, why are Angular surveys important for your work? We got large text responses, but we then took those text responses and we put them into categories based on the common themes that emerged, and it's kind of hard to see here, but we put that data within an principal component analysis, and we identified 4 different groups connected to angler surveys. And we tried to develop typologies based on some of the more pivotal questions that the more influential questions that affected them. My biggest pet peeve is just showing a PCA and then just saying that's what it is, and I just did that. So all great scientists do it, I guess. But this is just one simple way that you can take text responses, turn it into something quantitative, and that's the whole message that we're trying to show. And like, I know Paul probably has something about sentiment analysis to contribute to that as well. And yeah, I'm hoping we can turn this into a workshop in Southern Division, New Orleans. So yeah, with that, are there any other researchers? I'm looking at Mark and Rebecca that might be interested in working together on developing some sort of sister workshop that is from the English Survey Committee. 2026. Well, I was thinking, yeah.
Oh, I
But yeah, just something to chew on, and like, this is a couple years down the line, but yeah.
We've run a pretty successful innovative symposium and sort of workshop on social science.
Okay.
And actually, AFS meeting, I see it being successful at additional.
And also, like, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. If the workshop already exists, we'd love to be a part of something like that too. Yeah, just wanted to get everybody thinking about those things with the proposal for second edition of Angler Survey Methods, and thinking about developing other deliverables where we can share our angler survey research and try to strengthen the connections that we've already built. Yeah, and that's all I got on the Angler Survey Committee. Just wanted to talk a little bit about grad student mental health. I know a lot of y'all are advisors here, and like, I just got hospitalized. Y'all know from we had to reschedule that meeting, and it was all mental health things. And it's very common among grad students to self-medicate, and I was kind of the walking example of a functional alcoholic, and not many people could notice that except those that are really close to me. And I just want to bring awareness about this, and like, that's the, 0.07% seems pretty low, but compared to the general population, graduate students are a minority that think about suicide more than other folks. And at universities, we got great mental health centers that exist that a lot of graduate students don't know. And I just want to encourage anybody that if you've seen something, just encourage them to talk to me, because I've recently became sober, and after being in the hospital, to really put a perspective on the, I want to give back to other grad students that have been in a similar situation that I was. And yeah, with that, I guess we'll end it on a sad note.